Hey, this is Gatorex, and I enjoyed playing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. But do I still enjoy it? Because it's been almost 3 months after its release, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't been talking much about it. And mostly because, it's a fine game, first of all, but is there a whole lot to do in it? That's one of the big complaints that people have kind of been having for a while about it, is that it's sort of shallow, it's sort of small, this and that. A lot of features been removed, and I've defended it here and there, and especially leading up to its release more and more so, in saying that it's fine because it doesn't really need to be a whole lot more. But I'm not going to talk about a lot of the complaints, defend it too much, because what I want to talk about today mostly is the lasting power, the lasting appeal of it, which Pokemon games have kind of been lacking in a sense. I feel like Sun and Moon had some of the best one, even though there were still some people who stopped playing it like 2 months after the release. I feel like there was a lot more to do and to talk about because, again, new generation, new Pokemon to try out in terms of like battling, new Pokemon to shiny hunt and this and that. And so it's just really interesting now that, Pokemon just doesn't tend to do that. Ultra Sun and Moon, because it was an enhanced version, there was still some new stuff, but compared to regular Sun and Moon, it was basically kind of the same thing, and so it kind of dropped off a lot more so, or a lot sooner. And now with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because we've kind of gotten these games already, it did that as well. So in the next generation, obviously, I think that's something that's going to change. I don't think Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are necessarily bad games because of this, but like I said, I played through it. It's fun, but there's not a whole lot more to do. Personally, how I would keep things going with like Pokemon games is battles, right? And especially like battles with friends, or the best thing is free-for-alls and stuff. That's just the most fun with friends. But there being only 150 Pokemon, there aren't a whole lot of fun, dumb things that I could do in this game with weird Pokemon that I tend to like to do. There are no multi-battles in this game, so you can't do that with your friends or with people. You can, one-on-one battles, but on top of that, none of my friends have even gotten Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which, that's not necessarily a fault on the game, that's more a fault on them, maybe both. I'm not entirely sure, but the thing is, these games are okay. Like, it's not the worst thing to happen to Pokemon. Like, some person will always kind of come along and say, like, with every small thing they disagree with in Pokemon, oh, this is the worst thing to happen to it, it's terrible, Pokemon's gonna die, or Pokemon's dying out, or this or that. But like, no, it's not, it's fine. But we do need some really, really big and good games, I feel like. And, I had talked about something like this a while ago, in that the games didn't have a whole lot of lasting power, specifically with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And, again, that was due to the fact that they were enhanced versions of a game. There wasn't anything, like, brand new to it. A big concern is that people think that with Sun and Moon specifically, leading up to it, too much was released or too much was announced, and so there weren't a lot of big surprises in the game. Well, there were some surprises in the game, but the data mine kind of got rid of some of those. Not all of them. When you actually played the game, there's this and that. But there are a whole lot of factors, right? With Pokemon potentially, not releasing or with Pokemon maybe announcing too much before the game actually comes out, with there not being a whole lot in the game to really last you, I sunk a lot of time into Generation 6 games, because I feel like the mechanics in those were great, and for me at least, it was great and easy to make Pokemon afterwards, to breed Pokemon and get them ready just for fun, goofy battles, or even just like even actual competitive online stuff. Not really, really competitive, but just bringing them online. And with Sun and Moon, it has a lot of those resources, but maybe it's something I'll talk about further in detail at some other point. But I feel like Sun and Moon wasn't as much. Generation 6, the grind was, for some reason, I was able to do the grind a lot better, because, X version was one of the games that I actually got the maximum amount of money in. That's cool. I gotta take a picture of that and have it somewhere sometime as my achievement. But the point is, with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, again, the whole removed details or removed features and this and that. In a sense, yeah, it kind of does. And the fact that it's not necessarily being supported competitively, in a sense. Now, obviously, I don't know how competitive you can get with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but obviously, And obviously, you know, they were going to keep, in VGC, right, they were going to keep this year being Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as the main game that you're going to be using competitively. But, you know, maybe they could have added Let's Go as a side thing. I don't know. But the point is, nowadays, with any video game, the way to keep it alive post its release, or like a month after its release, is online, and the community. And Pokemon has that for the most part. Obviously, the community keeps it alive by making videos and talking about it, you know, top 5s, top 10s, theories, stuff like that, discussions like this, you know. Also, you know, it's kept alive online, like with events or updates. Now, Pokemon doesn't necessarily have a lot of updates. We actually did just have an update for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but that was, you know, more of a bug fix, not necessarily adding anything big like, you know, other online games do. Is, you know, for one thing, right, I've been playing a lot of Pikachu and Eevee because when I'm at home and if I want to play a game, normally I just pop in Splatoon 2 because that's really cool. And again, you know, Splatoon 2 keeps things fresh, pun intended, by new stages, new weapons, bug fixes on top of that, straight up DLC in the Octo expansion. However, you know, however, Splatoon has kind of ended with that. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee obviously isn't going to have that, and some people have been saying, you know, oh, there should be some DLC for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I don't know if that's necessarily the way that Pokemon should be going in the future, but at the very least with, say, like, events, right? That was my point, I suppose. Events, or online events, which the main series Pokemon games have, and, well, Let's Go is kind of main series, but say with the new generations, right? With Generation 7, Ultra Sun and Moon, there are still online battles and online events, which you definitely got to keep those for people who like that, but the thing is with Pokemon being so wide, there are a lot of things to do. Some people can play it competitively, some people can play it like, or even on top of that, in competitively, there's like VGC, and there's like the made up Smogon stuff. Some people like to shiny hunt, some people like to do Nuzlocke challenges, some people just like the vanilla experience over and over again, and that's cool. That's the cool thing about Pokemon. But something like online events, which is typically used to keep a game alive, is only used for, can really only keep the competitive scene going, not necessarily like, you know, if you have like a competition, that's not going to help out, you know, that's not going to help out the person who likes to shiny hunt at all. Again, you know, Pokemon does have the card game, which the card game kind of keeps alive longer than video games, obviously. Like, the card games are influenced by the video games, definitely, but they kind of exist independent of it, because the card game has to keep going because, you know, it sells its product that sells, and on top of that, it has its own competitive thing. Like, you know, Worlds, of course, are neat because it's got the competitive video game, it's got the TCG, it's got all of that. But if only, you know, a lot of that if only there was some way to keep like everything else alive, you know. Pokemon has been using their Twitter more often. Like, the Pokemon brand itself obviously is staying alive as a whole because, again, like I said, video games, card game, Let's Go, or regular Pokemon Go on the app, it's got a bunch. But the games themselves, Let's Go, like I said, I haven't really touched it this year. And again, you know, maybe that's something on me. There are a lot of factors that go into the burnout, I believe, which, you know, I think I had mentioned earlier. But, I mean, as you may have noticed, my main type of discussion is just maybe older things that I've been wanting to talk about recently, and I figure, you know, talk about it now, or Detective Pikachu, because, you know, that's a new thing that's on the horizon. Let's Go are fine. They're fine games, but I don't know. And so the thing is, somehow I knew, well, not somehow I knew, obviously I knew it wasn't going to last very long, and, you know, especially after, in December, right, because it came out in November, Pokemon games, and then the next month, December, we get Smash Bros, and then basically everyone's playing Smash Bros instead of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but I don't know, it's a weird thing. Let me know your thoughts about this topic. Did you enjoy Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee? Are you still enjoying it now? Are you playing something else instead? And what do you think Pokemon could do to fix this going forward? What do you think we as a community can do to fix something like this going forward in making games having lasting potential? Generation 8, I definitely think, is going to be, you know, a lot better in that, and we definitely are going to put in our part to make Generation 8 last a lot longer. So that's cool, but that'll happen later this year anyway. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorX. Have a nice day.